From chorkor here in Accra to Cape Coast in the central region, then finally to Somalia. Welcome to Joy News today. In the next hour, in the face of rampant tidal waves along Ghana's coast, some residents of chorkor use refuse as sea defense. From January 8, 2017, 8 cedis 80 pesos will be the minimum daily wage for the Ghanaian worker after 8 hours of work. And President Mahama promises free education at tertiary level if GDP grows. Stay on for all the details. I'm Benis Abu Bedu. Thanks for your company here on Joy News today. Tidal waves battered some coastal communities in Accra over the weekend. The Accra suburb of chorkor was one of the worst hit communities. In a special series on the impact of tidal waves along Ghana's coastline, Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba visited chorkor to speak to fishermen who are building sea defense walls with plastics and household refuse.
Sometime last week, Saturday, we had news about how tidal waves wreaked havoc on a lot of coastal communities along the coastline of Ghana. We are here today in chorkor. Chorkor is a famous, a notable fishing community. We have a lot of fishermen staying here. Today, we are here to meet one near Adote, USA. He's a fisherman here. He lives here. He had all his fishing equipment. Everything that he used for fishing basically was destroyed in the process. It was not destroyed here at the chorkor coastline. It was destroyed at chorkor. But we are here today to meet him to find out more from him. Later also, he will be taking us to some of his colleague fishermen who also lost a lot of properties in that unfortunate incident. Let's go inside and then meet him.
Sunday monkey. Came to living. I don't go to live, but you parfait joke. When you are the jeans, you I'm going to say, oh, you want to go Lulu, you walk on Jimmy. Ronnie and Anna, Tete, Nagate, when she fell Lulu, but because what do you know, I get a neighbor.
The incident happened on Sunday dawn around 10 to 11 p.m. till the following morning. We went to the shore early in the morning only to find that our outboard motor was completely damaged together with our canoe. We are pleading for help. I bought the outboard motor at a price of 119 million old Ghana cedis. It is completely destroyed. My boat was also washed away. The fishing nets have been reduced to rags, but we are mending it to see if we can put it together for better use. Because everything is destroyed, we cannot go for fishing. We are waiting for the low tides before we can start again. Majority of us had our fishing equipment destroyed. Everything will sum up to 80,000 to 100,000 Ghana cedis. I can only go back to fishing when I get someone to help me. God is my only provider now.
Necessity, they say, is the mother of all inventions. Some residents of chorkor have found a solution to their woes. This thing you see over here is rubbish mixed with some plastic and some sand, and it's meant to serve as a sea defense for this building over here. Is the one who engineered this.
It took me 11 years to build this defense. I used to worry over the strong sea waves, but now the rubbish here is a hill. I do not worry about the sea waves anymore. Previously, the foundation of my building vibrates when the waves are strong, but now it doesn't. If all the residents here will find time to do this, they will not have to worry about the sea waves.
So it is low tide now, but last week's tidal wave left in its trail this plastic material scattered all across the beach. It also left in its trail this broken canoes and outboard motors. For Joy News, Maxwell Agbagba.
Still on social matters, the issue of land disputes in Accra, particularly Apollonia and its environs, continue to hang around and could be an obstacle to the quest by private developers to bridge the over 1 million housing deficit currently facing the country. Lands in Apollonia have gained some bad press coverage in recent years as a result of disputes over lands, some of which have led to the death of some litigants. In a latest development, head of Bediako Stool, one of the warring clans, has issued a warning to parties in the dispute to stay off the property. Latif Idris has more in the following report.
Ghana currently faces a social housing challenge of about 1.5 million. Now, an attempt by the Sino Africa Group to bridge that gap has been met with a rather strict resistance by residents of Apollonia Castle Gate here in Accra. Now, Sino Africa Group 5 years ago bought this property of about 1,000-acre land, which has been walled. But the wall has been brought down by residents who are also claiming equal ownership of this property. Now, the operations manager of Sino Africa Group, Gabriel Fosby, is a frustrated man. Now, he tells me they want quick adjudication at the court for the matter to be settled in order for them to bring up about 1,500 housing units they intend to put on this property.
You can see massive encroachment on the land. The land has been dissipated. We are not able to, we've made huge financial investments. You can imagine 1,000-acre land. Look at the walling project alone. That alone should tell you how much money has gone into this project.
I want you to tell us specific. How many units are you looking at?
Well, I'm saying that we're looking at...
When you finish with the whole project.
Or when we finish. About 1,500 units.
Which will take care of how many?
1,500 will take care of, well, let's say 1,500 families. Yes, 1,500 families. Because the land is huge. I mean, we're going to build hospitals and going to build clinics, and we're going to create employment for the people here. We're going to set up a police station, a police post, and all that.
It's going to be a whole community
idea. That's what we had in mind.
Now it hangs in the balance.
Well, our plan is to, we believe in the rule of law, and so I pray that the court expeditiously adjudicates this matter. I'm told the courts are on recess, come back in October. Our hope is that when they do come back in October, we should be able to get this, done and over with, so we can start with our project.
I'm currently at the residence of Ni Tete Idrisu Mansro, who is the head of the Bediako Way, who has warned residents and other private developers to stay off the property or face legal action.
Lands of Apollonia belong to the Ponstool, but are limited by the heads of the 3 Rat lands and the chief of Apollonia. Who are the kingmakers? The kingmakers of Apollonia are the heads of the 3 Rat clans. They are as follows. Head of Bediako Way, Ni Idrisu Tete Mansro, that is me. Head of Kojo Way, Ni Segbili Nati, who is seated at my left. Head of Sanchisake Way, Ni Setafon, on my right. These names are easily verifiable at the Lands Commission and is captured in a High Court suit number BMISC 407/2013, and as such identified as accredited grantors.
You're watching Joy News Today with me, Benis Abu Baidu. Let's cross over now to the Accra International Conference Center, where the NPP's flag bearer, Nana Akufo-Addo, is addressing members of the Ghana Employers Association.
one major industrial project based on the natural endowment or economic potential of each district. Creating dedicated energy supply sources for industrial enclaves and zones to provide them with quality and reliable power. Facilitating access to dedicated land spaces in every region for the establishment of multi-purpose industrial parks, sector-specific enclaves, and enterprise-free zones. Providing a comprehensive program of support for the production of selected agricultural products as raw materials for agro-processing. Tomato, cassava, cashew, cocoa, maize, oil palm, cotton, selected fruits, groundnuts, and rice, etc. Providing specific incentives for the production and supply of quality, locally produced, non-agricultural raw materials for industry at competitive prices. Refocusing the operation of public research institutions to provide R&D support for selected strategic industries. Providing specific incentives for the establishment of R&D laboratories by the private sector. Establishing an independent port clearing facilitation agency, excluding customs, as a one-stop institutional mechanism to support import and export trade. Reducing port clearing charges. Supporting the operations of the Exim Bank to facilitate access to financing for export development. Eliminating corruption in the award of public contracts by implementing strictly the teachings of the Public Procurement Act at 663 to ensure that competitive bidding, not sole sourcing, is the norm in the determination of public transactions. Establishing a biannual consultative forum as a structured dialogue mechanism for government and private sector to deliberate on critical issues affecting the private sector. And nominating representatives from business associations to become members of the governing boards of relevant public institutions and agencies to ensure inputs from the private sector in policy formulation. The Ghana Employers Association must be interested in the development of an educated and highly skilled workforce in Ghana. Employers are the frontline beneficiaries of an educated and skilled workforce. Ghana has not done enough in the vocational and technical education sector, and the idea still persists that it is for dropouts and second-rung children. This is the sector that encourages enterprise, growth, and job creation. MPP plans to build a number of model vocational and technical institutions around the country to demonstrate its importance. We're counting on the private sector to join in this critical project. Around the world, food processing has always been the start of industrialization. Too much time is still spent on cooking our foods. There's been a lot of research done by the CSIR and Research Institute, and our entrepreneurs and financiers should team up to turn the research into viable enterprises. They will become attractive to the international community as well. We believe that these measures, comprehensive in scope and ambitious in purpose, will strengthen the prospects of accelerated enterprise development in a competitive environment and stimulate the rapid growth and expansion of the Ghanaian economy, so that the all-important issue of job creation can be successfully addressed. We can then guarantee the peace and stability of our nation. A future MPP government under my leadership, God willing, stands ready to partner the Ghanaian private sector in this exciting journey of economic development and national revival. Thank you for the opportunity.
You just saw MPP's flag bearer Nana Akufo-Addo addressing the Ghana Employers Association at their annual general meeting. Let's do some other stories now. Some traders at the Makola market here in Accra are refusing to move away from a construction site where a colleague of theirs died in an accident in May this year. The trader died after part of the scaffold under which she was trading fell on her neck. Mobile phone footage of the gory accident showed other traders at the scene wailing uncontrollably. Joy News' Maxwell Agbagba visited the project site 3 months after the tragedy and reports the accident apparently did little to ward off the traders from the danger zone.
What started as a normal day on the 7th May 2016 ended as tragic at a construction zone at the Makola market. One of the traders selling under the yet-to-be-completed Makola shopping mall died on the spot when a huge metal being carried by some of the construction workers to one of the floors slipped and fell on her. That would be the last time her friends would see her at the market.
It's a construction zone, but it's not spared the hustle and bustle of the city life. It is brisk business going on here as usual, from the sale of tomatoes, okra, rice, name it. Everything is on sale here. Aquile, a single mother of 2, used to sell at this market, but one day disaster struck from this construction zone. We are here to meet her friend Carly, who sells at this market. She'll tell us exactly how it turned out.
She ebashiani ebaelu ne bajano one ba ebile se na ke nete ajiele no ne ajiele eba ojala no emenyanshi wode emenyanshi ne ojala na kada de ko beje.
She was carrying her child, but she went to put her to sleep and came back. As she was setting up to start the day's activities with her face down, one of the heavy metals dropped and hit her on the neck. Blood started oozing out profusely and she died on the spot. The contractor sent me to the hospital. There they brought out her soiled clothes and we were told she is dead. She was a single mother with 2 children.
That unfortunate incident sent chills down the spine of the sellers around. But that fear had faded, and the traders are back selling right under the metallic scaffolds. The competition for this dangerous space is scary as the traders ignore all the warning signs to keep off. Not even the human skull and crossbone signs would deter them. If death could not scare these traders, what would stop them? Security officers hired by the Zhongmei Engineering Group Limited and AAMS say they have tried to get the traders to move from the construction zone. That, however, has been an exercise in futility. George Kokubache is a supervisor of the Zhongmei Engineering Group Limited, contractors of the Makola shopping mall.
We employ the security from the MMC property management, and then the AMA too is attached, but they try their best. What they can do is what you are seeing now. AMA is here always with the CID, the security company who is guarding the MMC mall. They are always here, including our internal security, but we can't do nothing about it. We can't do anything. But we are still on it. We know how to go on.
In spite of the horrifying incidents that happened here, these women are still determined to make business. It is risky here. For Joy News, Maxwell Agbagba.
Back in the studios, I'm Benis Abubedu. This is Joy News. Today we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do some more stories. Please stay on. You're watching Joy News Today with me, Benis Abubedu. Government on Wednesday announced a 10% increase in the daily minimum wage for workers. The announcement by the Employment and Labour Relations Minister, Haruna Idris, in Accra on Wednesday, takes the wage to 8 cedis 80 pesos, an increase of 80 pesos to take effect from January 2017. The increase was arrived at after a meeting of the National Tripartite Committee comprising representatives of the Ghana Employers Association, the Trades Union Congress, other labor unions, and the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations.
It comprises the Ghana Employers Association and organized labor led by the TUC and the Secretary General, with the Ghana Federation of Labor, supported technically by the Compensation Department of the Ministry of Finance and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the Ghana Statistical Service, have over the period been negotiating on the 2017 National Daily Minimum Wage. As many of you may be aware, the determination of the National Daily Minimum Wage is a wage policy instrument. It affects individuals, it affects organizations, it affects society generally. The wish of government with its tripartite partner would have been to be discussing a living wage, which will make life even much more bearable for workers. But we do know what the National Daily Minimum Wage can do. It also affects employment, and therefore our collective determination over the years is to make a determination of it and make a public announcement of it at least earlier than budget. And there's a school of thought which strongly thinks that concurrently we should be discussing increases to the public sector base pay increases as consequential to what happens at the determination of the National Daily Minimum Wage. The tripartite have been meeting since the beginning of this year through May up to this morning, and accordingly the tripartite, the national tripartite, have resolved and agreed by consensus a 10% increase in the National Daily Minimum Wage from 8 cedis to 8.80 Ghana pesos, Ghana cedis. Is 10% increase in the National Daily Minimum Wage from 8 Ghana cedis to 8.80.
The Ghana Employers Association, however, does not appear ready to implement the new wage. Labor relations expert Francis KOFI DAVOR is of the opinion that the increase will have an effect on the informal sector and more will depend on the commitment of employers to pay the 10% increase.
It's going to have an impact on the vulnerable group of workers. I mean, those who do not, and when I'm being vulnerable, I'm talking about those who do not have collective agreements, those who are in the informal sector, particularly because some of them do not have contractual arrangements with their employers. So that's how it's going to help. The informal sector may take a cue from the outcome, but they may not be bound by it. The formal sector, as it stands now, is paying way above, so far as my information goes, is paying way above what the minimum wage. But then, in terms of increments, they may be guided in their negotiations by what has come out of the tripartite decision in terms of the minimum wage.
Francis, over time, you'd realize that about an average of 1 cedi was added to the minimum wage. But this time around, it's about 80 pesos. Could that be an indication of the current economic situation in the country?
Like I said earlier on, it's the ability of the employer to pay. The employers at the tripartite includes government and private sector employers. So it's a reflection. As you know, times have been very difficult for businesses, particularly because of the energy problems that we have had over the couple of years. So business have been a little bit difficult. The margins, just like the executive director of the Ghana Employers Association said, the margins have been dwindling over the past couple of months. And therefore, I believe that went into inform the kind of increase that the employers were willing to absorb. And even as they are saying, it's going to be very difficult for them to implement it. So the economic factors, the economic climate, the difficulties that businesses are facing mainly are what will go into influencing how much the minimum wage should be. Note, however, that if any employer for competitive reasons is willing to pay more, the law really does not stop you from doing that. The minimum wage just establishes a threshold below which employers cannot pay. So if the employers are willing to pay something more, they are permitted to do so. But like I've said, the climate has been a little bit challenging and difficult for most businesses. So I can understand the complaints from employers.
Francis Kofi Davos spoke to me earlier on News Desk. Now, President John Dramani Mahama says his administration will extend the free education policy to the tertiary level as the GDP of the country continues to grow. The president, who has been addressing senior members and students of the University of Cape Coast, has also been counseling students who wish to pursue tertiary education not to accept any course offered them. He said they should consider the job prospects the course offers. President Mahama admitted that many graduates are unemployed and would be unemployed because they went to the university to pursue courses that are of no relevance to the job market. I spoke earlier to Richard Kojonyako, who was at the event for Joy News.
His administration will extend the free education to the tertiary sector, and this is dependent on the domestic product of the country. According to him, if it increases, they will extend the free education to the tertiary sector so that parents and students will pay less. Apart from that one, he says that the students are not going to pay utility fee, and there's been some talk about shifting the cost to the student to pay, but the president told the student that they should read his lips, and it is his word that the students are not going to pay utility fee, and it's good news to them. Apart from that one, the president has also been telling the students about their choices. If they want to pursue tertiary education, they should look at courses that will be relevant or will be of relevance to the job market. According to him, he cited himself as an example that if he did history when he was at the university, and when he was done, he was jobless for a while until there were certain things that he did before he could get a job to do. Apart from that one, he also spoke extensively about corruption and says that those who are criticizing his administration, that his administration is corrupt, he says that he's indicated and he's committed to fighting corruption, and there are a lot of people that are standing trial, a lot of investigations that are ongoing, and so people should just keep their fingers crossed. He is committed to the fight against corruption, and so these are some of the key highlights that the president tagged on yesterday in the evening.
Oh, Richard, okay, we know that he's been having some question and answer sessions with the students of UCC. What were some of the questions they asked, and what were his responses?
Well, some of the questions that the students and the senior members of the university asked was about the teacher training college allowance. According to him, he is prepared to lose the presidency rather than making or allowing the students to take allowances at the teacher training college level. According to him, it is for equity purposes. It is for the sake of equity, and he wants to allow a lot of people to gain access to the teacher training college, and that is why his administration has taken that posture and that stance. But for the nursing training college, the president says that they have considered other options and it wouldn't be feasible for now, and so they have allowed some amount of money to be given to them as allowances. As soon as there is an act that will enable them to take them off to his administration will take the nursing training college so that they will be at par with those who are also pursuing tertiary level education, because they cannot be in the teacher training college and be classified as...
With 89 days to the general elections, major political parties have been sharing their aspirations for the country with the electorate. These promises include one dam, one village, jobs for all, and progressively free tertiary education. Joy News has been sampling the views of the public on whether they believe these campaign promises are feasible.
Some of them are competent. I think some of them can do it, but sometimes you think of them and some of them, the things they say is absurd. And I think some of them can do it. Some of them are competent.
So far, everyone is making promises. And as human beings, we make promises, but it's up to them to do it or not. And voting for them, it depends. I think it's everyone's choices. As Sarkodie sang, choices. So if you vote for them and you believe they can do whatever they can do for you, it's cool. I would say that, we are human beings. The promises, though, some of them, if you look recently, some of our current president, I don't know if maybe he has fulfilled the promise. Actually, me particularly, I don't follow politics because I don't trust them. They give promises that they don't intend to fulfill. So, I don't know.
I have nothing to say. They keep promising all the time, but to me, I think it's about time we Ghanaians, we stop focusing or, putting our trust in the politicians. Because we ourselves are the politicians, and I don't see the reason why we should wait for them in order to succeed in life. I think we can do everything on our own, so I don't see the reason why we should depend on their promises.
Yeah, I think it's like a cliche. Everybody says the same thing. So it's like everybody says the same thing, and then it's like something they always say. So you don't know whether they'll do it or whether they won't do it. It's a normal thing everybody says.
For the promises, if you ask me, they are not bad, but it has to be feasible. We are in the political era, and for that matter, we, the public or the electorate, we are at least expecting to be told something about our lives that would be meaningful. It's not just like building a castles in the air. You understand?
It's time to hear the latest news in the world of business. Emmanuel Abuajiriafe will join us shortly with more. Please stay on.